Hi, my name is Cassandra Gray, and I serve as Communications Manager for NASBA, the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. NASBA is the national association that serves the 55 state boards of accountancy that oversee and regulate the accounting profession and certified public accountants. We receive questions all the time from CPA exam candidates about the exam and licensing process. So in this video, we will walk you through the process, answer questions you may have, and at the end, guide you to some additional resources for help. Some of the questions we're asked include, what degree do I need? What college courses should I take? Will my foreign education transfer to the U.S.? How do I take the CPA exam? How much does it cost? And when do I get my CPA license? Those are all important questions. The confusing part is the answer to each of those questions varies from state to state. Let's see if we can clear things up a little. CPAs start out as students studying accounting and business in college, then move on to take and pass the uniform CPA exam, obtain required work experience, and apply for the official CPA license. There are special education requirements that differ from state to state that must be completed in order to qualify to sit for the uniform CPA exam. For example, some states require 120 total semester hours to qualify, where other states require 150 total hours. There are also more narrow educational requirements specific to each state, such as 33 semester hours in accounting and 36 semester hours in business. A different state might require 33 hours in accounting and have no minimum semester hours for business. After all the necessary education requirements have been completed for the state of your choice, you may then apply to sit for the CPA exam. Passing exam scores can be transferred to any state for the purpose of qualifying for a CPA license. So it's okay to take the exam in one state and then later get your license in a different state. Upon successful completion of the CPA exam, the next step is to complete the other requirements necessary for obtaining a CPA license in the state in which you ultimately plan to practice as a CPA. Just like education requirements for the CPA exam, education and work experience requirements for the CPA license vary from state to state. In some states, the education requirements for the exam are the same as those necessary for the license, while in other states, there are additional education requirements above and beyond the exam requirements. Likewise, work experience requirements vary from state to state. Many states require at least 1 year of public accounting work experience to qualify for a CPA license, while there are some states that will accept other types of work in place of public accounting experience, such as teaching, self-employment, and part-time employment. Other states have more specific requirements that might include a specified amount of auditing work experience. A few states allow international candidates that are not planning to physically practice in the United States to become a licensed CPA without requiring state residency or United States citizenship. But if you reside and work in the United States, then you must be licensed in the state where you live and practice. Most states also offer mobility privileges that will allow you to service clients across state borders using your CPA license from your home state. So how do you make sense of all this? The state boards of accountancy offer information on CPA exam and licensing requirements on their individual public websites. NASBA offers the Accounting Licensing Library, or ALL, a website containing information on all 55 jurisdictions devoted to simplifying the process for prospective CPAs. On behalf of NASBA, thanks for watching. We hope you found this video to be informative. We at NASBA strive to be the trusted resource for regulatory and professional services. For more information on the Uniform CPA exam, CPA licensing, and all, please visit our NASBA websites, alllibrary.com, nasba.org, and nasbatools.com. Again, thanks for watching.
Thank you everyone for watching the video, and for students who were not able to watch the video, please need not worry. We'll share the link shortly with you. Hello everyone, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the US CPA Journey and Path to Success webinar presented by VG Learning Destination and Grant Thornton India LLP. The content partner of this course is Becker Professional Education, the best in the industry. Today, I have the honor to welcome a very prestigious and reputable panel who will share their insights on the US CPA, that is the US Certified Public Accountant qualification, which is the most honored and renowned profession and the highest qualification in the field of accounting. I have the privilege to welcome CA Vinod Gupta, who is widely recognized as VG Sir and the guru of taxation among the students of CA Final. Mr. Gupta has been awarded with Rashtriya Gaurav Award and ACCA Global Lifetime Achievement Honorary Degree. We will also welcome Mr. Kapil Arora, Associate Director of Thornton, India. Mr. Kapil has over 10 years of experience and has designed multiple training programs for corporates across sectors. We also have Mr. Trigun Pasricha from Thornton, India. Mr. Trigun is a licensed CPA and has delivered and led trainings of US GAAP, US regulation and taxation, and IFRS in India and abroad. I would welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Himanshu Sardana. Mr. Himanshu has 20 years of experience in the areas of audit and finance. He is a CA, an ACCA, and MBA, and has worked in UK, Europe, and India on multiple assignments with EY, KPMG, and a couple of Fortune 500 companies. We also have Mr. Siddharth Chaudhary, who is a qualified CA, CPA, and certified IFRS professional. He comes with Big Four and Fortune 100 experience, both in India and abroad. Mr. Siddharth has been teaching CPA for more than 7 years now, and hundreds of CPAs have passed under his guidance. Last, but definitely not the least, we have Mrs. Namita Seth, who's a licensed CPA and CMA, and has over 15 years of experience in accounting, taxation, and auditing. She has helped many aspirants achieve their CPA and CMA goals. Now I would request CA Vinod Gupta to please start this webinar with sharing his views and vision on the CPA program.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So at the outset, let me thank you all for the love, affection, and the confidence which you people have reposed in me for the last 30 years. Believe me, I have earned a lot, but the kind of respect I've learned from you people is something which no one on the earth can earn. See how great a teacher would feel if out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panelists, 3 are his ex-students. Himanshu is, I think, my oldest student, and the kind of heights he has achieved, I feel really proud that, yes, Himanshu is my student, who is now a world-renowned professional. Siddharth, he has also been my student, and he is a chartered accountant come CPA. And the kind of teaching skill I watched his skills were better than me. Namita also, you were my student, and now she's a CPA. So the kind of pride a teacher feels when the panelist, half of the panelist is a student, is something which I cannot really express. So the trust which everyone has reposed in VG Learning Destination, let me assure you, I will not fail in that. 3 years back, we started ACCA with Thornton as our partner, and we have delivered the best not only in India, but abroad, including Singapore, Philippines, and Mauritius. So we have again joined hands with Thornton, the industry leader. They will be the knowledge partners in the sense that the faculty support will be all coming from Thornton. It's not only they're the partner, knowledge partner, they are the real partners in the CPA project. We have the content being provided by the world's best known backers. So when the 3 best joins hand, I think the delivery has to be awesome. So friends, we have, along with Thornton, created a full directorate to deal with the CPA. The directorate consists of the CPAs who are very, very experienced and the counselors who are having experience of 7 to 10 years. The first aim will be to help students to know their eligibility, whether they are eligible or not. The second step would be to help them in enrolling for the CPA program and progression, passing the exam. And even after passing the exam, it is not all over. It is basically getting a license of the CPA also, which my panel speaker will be speaking of. And just half an hour back, Kapil called me and asked me a question. And I will not share that question with you because I don't want to take credit of that question. So that question Kapil will be asking you. And that question is something which will really, which will be in the minds of thousands of you. So friends, we are here to give you the best. And the panel speakers will elaborate on whatever I said. And I and GT, VGLD and GT felt the need for this program because of the changing scenario. You have seen the Cold War between China and US. And most of the US companies will be shifting base from China. And obviously the base is Modi's base, India. And I think you would have heard and seen in the newspaper reports that Apple is also shifting the operations to India. So when the American companies come to India, obviously you require the CPA qualification. So there are a lot of things to be said, and I do not want to take the entire time because there's a panel of speakers, the galaxy of speakers. So I'll request Mr. Kapil Arora Grant Thornton to please take up the proceedings. And the question which you raised, Kapil, half an hour before me, please do raise. That is something which will be in the mind of most of us. Please, Kapil.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for this webinar. And especially like to thank VGLD and to the sir also to giving us the opportunity to work again together for this CPA project again. As sir has mentioned that there is a lot of things happening across the world, and India after China, right? So after this situation, China has been considered as a culprit, where India has been seen as one of the biggest opportunity to move all the operations from different countries, and this is actually happening, and this will be taking place, or this will be happening a lot in near future. So since a lot of companies and everything is moving in India, right, and majorly all the big corporates who have somewhere based in US, or so they would always bring in a lot of opportunities for India, right? So when they bring a lot of opportunities, it will always be a big opportunity for the people in India. So for that, I would always say that yes, we already have lots and lots of the local qualifications which are there. But along with that, since lots of international companies, multinational companies are coming to India, they are always looking for some sort of the international flavor in the skill set which they are looking for. So that is one of the reason I would say that yes, the CPA, the reason why we have started the CPA was one of the big reason for coming up with this particular project along with VGLD. Now the idea again was to come up, and Grant Thornton becomes a knowledge partner along with the VGLD for this program. To make sure or to ensure that we are not just going to teach the concepts, but our SMEs who actually work on these areas like US GAAP, IFRS, US taxation, these areas need not just the conceptual understanding, but they also need the skill set, which is the practical application of these concepts, which are very much required. So one who understands the concept along with the practical aspect would always have an upper hand on everything. So for that purpose, I would say, yes, the CPA becomes a very, very important area here, which can add value to someone's career. And considering the current situation, I would say that, yes, companies are coming and it will keep on coming. A lot of consulting firms, considering that they want to reduce cost in US, they are sending their finance related work in India, and lots of US companies who are already having operation in India have to finalize their financial statements and everything in India itself. And one big question which I asked sir was that whether these CPAs who get the license from who get the license for CPA, can they sign the report in India or not, right? So so fortunately we have thing is that once you are licensed CPA, then you get the opportunity to sign the financials of the US company based out of India, right? So that's how that is how it becomes very, very important for one to understand, one to know all the aspects which are required. Apart from that, I would just request our guest speaker Himanshu Sardana to share his thoughts on how we see this international qualification CPA and what he sees that how this qualification can add value to someone's career and to this the career development process. Yes, Himanshu, please, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kapil. And first of all, I would like to thank everyone at this panel, and especially VG sir, for inviting me. And really glad to meet you all. I don't know how many of you are there right now, but I'm really, really happy to meet you all. So I think when VG sir called me that Himanshu, you have to throw practical aspect that once the students come to us, they enroll, they qualify. I mean, how would they benefit from it? So I was like 5 minutes is too less, sir. I can't really tell them in 5 minutes. It will just take 2 to 3 hours. So I think still I'll just touch base on 3 important points. Number 1, anything comes from demand, as to say. Now, first of all, we have to look at the economic scenario, especially after Corona crisis. I think there are a number of questions in everyone's mind. Oh, what is going to happen? And all of a sudden, now you have a news that, hey, Google has invested 4.5 billion again in Reliance. So I think we have to look at the whole scenario. Let's say if I talk about specifically CPA, how many companies are US based or international based, which are listed in US and have operations in India, right? I mean, you talk about second step is you talk about Indian companies, ICICIs, HDFCs, these companies which are listed in US and they need, global reporting and they need CPAs per se. Third thing is, I would say, reporting of subsidiaries, JVs, joint ventures of number of things. So whole economic environment is growing. I mean, by and large, I would say we are on expansion speed. It's just that Corona has come up like a speed breaker, and as such, sir rightly said that, see, we have become much better as an option than China, right? So that is first thing that I would like to put emphasis on, that be it, Tata Motors, Infosys, be it ABGs of the world, where Indian companies are growing and going outside India and expanding rapidly. So there is a huge demand, number 1. Now, even if there is demand, now second question, if I am you, I will ask is, where do I stand in all this? If I do CPA, what exactly is that I am going to gain out of it? I think from my experience in last 20 years, it was great year to Y2K, as we call it. So I started working. I mean, even if you are a fresher, you are just out of college, think about, you have joined a job 10 years down the line, company considers you for an interview where you have to lead MESA region as a whole, or ASEAN as a whole. I mean, be it manufacturing, be it service industry, wherever you are, BPO, KPO, your own setup. I mean, expansion has to happen. It will happen. It's just that, are we able to gain out of it or not? Now, at that point, at least I have noticed a couple of times where I have scored an edge because you have an internationally recognized degree with you. You are going in a panel, let's say you are working to the likes of Philips, and there is company has a position which is global consolidation position based out of their headquarters in Europe. Now, out of 5 candidates, let's say they're selected out of whole, let's say finance leaders for top 5 companies or their countries. Now, where do you score an edge? They've already come there qualified, somebody is from Australia, you are from India, someone else. So there, not only in short term, but in long term, 10 years down the line, the degree will give you an edge you cannot think of. I mean, you are working in Big Four, you are going for panels. I mean, I'm sure many of you would know that your moment you move from senior manager to director or director to partner, you have to pass 2 stages of panels. 3 partners will be there, 3 independent partners will be there. There definitely, you have something in hand, which is an international degree. And it much better that, see, this is where I scored well than others, because everyone will come with that knowledge, experience by the time you are 15 years old in profession. I mean, I would like to take another example. I think years back when SOX came for first time, India was the only country which gained maximum out of it. Number of my friends I know who were just qualified CAs were pursuing CPA. I mean, they were just picked by US and UK companies because there was huge demand at that point in time. So that's point number 2, that focus on this thing, that what do you gain out of it in short term and in long run. Even, I mean, 20 years from now, you will really realize that, oh, the decision I took 20 years back is benefiting me even now. I mean, at present, you might be confused, oh, there are so many degrees, there are so many tutors and all. So that's my point number 2. Third is, I think sir has specifically asked me to throw light that how an international degree has helped you, Himanshu. You should give some examples. So I think first example I will take from year 2007. I went for an interview, I think in a company named Mind Solution, if I have liberty to take name. And they told me that, hey, fine, we have got a project from a UK client, name is Primus Telecom, where we have to send team to London, and the team will go for 6 months. And there was a complete KPO setup that we had to do. I think only thing that mattered was, by that time, I had already qualified much papers of ACCA, that where I could score well and can demonstrate that, see, I come with much more of global experience, at least theoretically at that point in time. Second, I would say Ernst & Young, when I was selected, I worked there in statutory audit with the Bharti Airtel as a client. So company, I mean, EY got audit of Bharti Airtel in year 2008, and they were looking for someone who has knowledge of IFRS. So being an ACCA, I definitely, I think I scored there well. So Airtel was a client which was trading its financials in both Indian GAAP and US GAAP at that point in time. So that was 2. I think third example, if I could take, was year 2015. I think March 2015, when we got announcement that IND-AS is going to be implemented. I mean, Big Fours were all out in market to look for ACCAs or CPAs, I mean, who know much more than Indian accounting standards. So that was the third point where I believe I scored only because I had an internationally recognized global degree with me. So there, I think I joined KPMG in 2015. I just left few months back. So that is how, I mean, it plays a bigger role in long run. And this is the time where you should think, and my suggestion would be, this is time for investment. Invest in yourself, and you will take the harvest throughout your life. So that is all. I will leave you with 3 important points. And thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Himanshu. That was indeed very knowledgeable. Now I would request Mr. Trigun to walk us through all the way through the US CPA journey.
Thank you, Shreya, and thank you to all the other panelists for explaining the importance of why CPA is the thing to do, or why an international degree rather holds more importance now than it has ever, hold importance. Again, congratulations to all of you who are attending the webinar, because you've taken the first step to become CPAs. All right. I would rather, now take you through the intricacies of the exam, and it'll give you a fair idea. I see a lot of questions coming up. It'll give you a fair idea on what the exam is, what all you need to do, and what are the nitty-gritties involved in becoming a CPA. So just sharing my screen. Right. Now, again, the CPA exam, as we understand, is the highest accountancy qualification when it comes out an accounting degree in the US, and it has gained its importance worldwide. Again, The US CPA is divided into 4 papers, namely Financial Accounting and Reporting, which we call FAR, Auditing and Attestation, which we call AUD, and Regulation and Business Account and Business Environments and Concepts. Right. As far as the examination is concerned, it is divided into 50% MCQ questions and 50% task-based simulations, with a peculiar written communications part coming into the business section. We will briefly understand what that is later on. Now, let me explain what each subject holds and what is there for you to take it away when compared to your Indian qualification, or in addition to your Indian qualification. So when we talk about FAR, you would learn about the US GAAP standards and its application, the IFRS standards briefly and its application, and we would also take you through its application on the government and non-profit organizations. When we talk about audit, now this is a very important subject as far the whole scenario of CPA is concerned, because you would be surprised to know that it has the lowest pass percentage when we talk about Asian students, especially Indian students, right? There is a difference between what is there in the US CPA exam and why that is the case, because a lot of case-based, scenario-based questions are asked, though they're MCQ-based, but a lot of them are case-based, scenario-based. So CPA as a whole exam follows a very holistic approach to develop the student into a professional who can handle international accounting and international standards. So it basically develops an all-round individual rather than just developing the knowledge base of the student. So when we talk about audit, for example, you would actually learn how to write audit reports and give various opinions, be it qualified or unqualified. And we would see how you write those, various risk factors in various finance processes, etc. So you'll cover all of that in audit. Talk about regulation. That is divided into 2 parts: business law, which you're all aware of, somewhere related to contract law, etc. And the best part is you will get to know about US taxation, okay? Be it individual taxation, be it corporations, all of that will be covered under the regulation part. So, be it you want to file a 1040 reports, etc., all can be done after reading through. And remember, CPA is very practical in its approach. It will rather give you concepts than the subjective knowledge. So, you'll be ready to either to process a report or process a tax return once you are, reading through the examination. The last paper is business, which consolidates everything which is left in the other subjects. It covers the economics part, it covers IT, it covers managerial accounting, it covers cost accounting, all of that which is kind of not there or, had been touched upon the other subject. So again, linking it back to the holistic approach that the CPA exam follows, it wants to complete that circle and complete that development for the participant or the student that is pursuing the CPA exam. Now, one thing which is very tricky, and a lot of people are asking, if they're eligible or not after doing, various other degrees. Most of you are done Indian degrees. So CPA follows the credit system, right? Thumb rule is usually if you are, because in India we have a 3-year graduation degree, each degree is 30 credits. Okay, so that's thumb rule. Unless and until you are, graduated from a NAC A accredited, and so the US guys consider those as a 4-year degree and give you 120 credits. Okay, otherwise it's 90 credits. And for the CPA license, you need 150 credits to complete that license. So majorly it'll be 90 or 120 credits that we are looking at. And again, you have to fill in that gap of 30 credits if need be with another additional course. So preferred degree would be a BCom, the PhD BM, or a CA Inter, ICWA Inter, CS, CA Final. All of this does give you that chance or does give you that eligibility to write the exam. A CA Inter, for example, would give you 120 credits and you become eligible right away to write the exam. A CA Final student would actually get 150 credits, which actually gets you eligibility to get the license, from day one. So you don't have to do anything any extra, masters or any other course to fill in that 30 credit gap. So anyway, CA students or rather intern final are anyway the advantage over other graduates that come on board with a 1 degree setup, right? So we will help you in evaluating whether you are eligible or no. Once we get your mark sheets, there's our eligibility team that would help you to basically decide on, because there are certain state courts that you are need to be eligible for, and that all we will help you in. Now, when I talk about state boards, then we heard briefly on the video that was playing in the beginning. So there are 55 or jurisdictions or state boards in the US where you can apply to. Again, according to your qualification, according to your marks, according to your subjects that you took in your graduation or something that you did after graduation, we would suggest a state board and help you with that as well. Again, your qualification or your educational documents will be sent to a evaluation service provider in the US. It can be, WES, it can be NASBA evaluations, it can be foreign academic credentials, any of that, again, which will be decided upon case to case, and we would send your transcripts to that, which will amount to an equivalent credit system in the international scenario. Okay. Now, we've talked about evaluation, we've talked about the exam, we've talked about, we have to send your transcripts to this evaluation. It somewhat kinds of muddles up into, how difficult it is to get a CPA in hand. So let me tell you, it is a very straightforward process to be followed to get the CPA exam. And I've mentioned the timelines expected to complete your CPA program. Again, we would see if you're eligible or not. You take some time in that. Once we find out you're eligible, you start preparing for the exams. It takes somewhere about 9 months to 12 months to clear the exam. Again, depends upon how much time you have to devote in studying, because I believe most of you are working professionals. During the time period you have started to prepare for the exam, we'll send your transcripts for the evaluation, which would take about 3-4 weeks. Once your evaluation would come in, we would apply for the exam, your exam, and the NTS, which is the notice to schedule. It's like a license or a exam sheet that you require to give the exam. That will be there. Again, it's a process of about 3 or 4 weeks, and then you are able to register for the exam and write your paper. Now, having said that, so it's pretty streamlined, pretty straightforward. You don't have to worry about what the process is, because it's all defined, and we are there for your help, for at each step. So that worry should not be there at all. Once you've written your exam, again, so all these steps require various, would require various additional cost points after or in addition to the fee that VGLD would charge. Again, because for example, your evaluations of a transcript somewhere between $100 to $350, where you would where we would help you send your evaluation transcript for evaluation. Again, when you apply for the examination, about $100 to $250, again depends upon the board, which we will decide on the kind of evaluation and kind of qualification that you have. Then there is an exam fee, which is mandatory. It is fixed per subject of $209, and an international fee. Someone who is writing outside of the US, so for example, you guys are attempting in India or let's say Dubai, you would want to pay this. About $2,200 to $2,500 is the additional dollars, is the additional expenditure expected to complete the program. And we talked about license. VG sir talked about, threw some light about license. Now it does not have to stop on clearing those exams. You've got to get to another step and get your license. It is not only a formality, but it also holds a lot of advantage if you have your license, because then you are creating your own niche. If you are a licensed CPA, you can practice in India, you can sign in reports, you can, of course, you are becoming more acceptable to all the corporations who are hiring CPAs. right? So that license is, you clear the exams. There's additional 30 credits, because for the exam you need 120. Unless you're a CA final student, which you only have a 150 credit with you, you get those 30 credits, through a bridge course or getting an additional degree, which you can get. Again, clear your ethics exam. You have to have 2,000 hours or 1 year of work in relevant field. So, for example, you're working with a CA firm or a Big Four, etc. So you are eligible, and that's a relevant field when we talk about CPA. And then you apply for a licensure for a specific state. So in the state board, you've given your exam, either that, or we can help you with a different state board if you want to apply for that particular state. And then that's how you get a license, and that's how you will be able to use the designation CPA, in your cadre. Again, so that's what the process is all about when we talk about the CPA exams in brief. Of course, there are a lot of questions, or there will be a lot of questions apart from the ones we've covered, which we will take up later. I would request Namita to guide you through on the completion steps on the CPA program with VGLD. Namita, over to you.
Thank you so much, Trigun. Hello, everyone. And now that you are aware how CPA is going to help you, Himanshu has given you good insights about that. And Trigun has also helped you with the processes involved in becoming a CPA. I'm going to be talking about the cost of CPA, how CPA is VG Learning Destination is going to help you with the CPA program, achieve your goals of becoming a US CPA. So the three biggies of the industry, Grant Thornton, LLP India, brings the best CPA instructors to you. They not only teach you, will be teaching you the conceptual, giving you the conceptual knowledge, but they will also be bringing in their practical experience and combining it with the conceptual knowledge and accordingly guiding you. Becker, as you know, is the best in the industry when it comes to the CPA content. It is the oldest and the most reliable, highest quality study material that they have. That's what Becker is, we are going to offer you in the form of concept books and videos. We also have the online test bank from Becker's, where we have more than 6,500 multiple choice questions for your practice and 250 plus task-based simulations for your practice, so that you have a hands-on experience of how the questions are going to appear in the CPA exams. There will also be mock tests available with you, the 4-hour mock test. It is advisable that you take those mock tests before taking the main exam, so that you know what challenges you might face in your exam while you're taking the exam. Apart from that, we are going to give you the logistic support in the form of your eligibility check. VGLD team will be performing the eligibility check for you before you enroll with them. This is free of cost. Once the eligibility check is done, you can enroll, you can get started with the classes, and side by side, you can start with the evaluation process. Now, what is evaluation? Conversion of Indian marks into US credit points. For this, you will be needing your transcripts, which the VGLD team will assist you how to get. And the transcripts will have to be sent to the foreign credential evaluation agencies in the US. The entire process will be shared by the VGLD team with you. Once this process is done, that is the foreign credential evaluation, that's when you can apply for CPA exams. So the mandatory process is evaluation. After that, it is up to you. When you want to take the exams, you can schedule the exams as per your choice. How do you do that? You get the notice to schedule. Again, this assistance will be given to you by VGLD team. They will help you. Once the report is done, they will help you with the applying for exams. The fee structure has already been shared by Trigun with you. Once that is done, you are good to sit for the CPA exams. You will have to book your exam dates by going to the Prometric centers. The cost for the VGLD is INR 96,000 plus GST, and this is the inaugural fee. This is going to hold good only till the first batch starts. And if you are interested and you want to avail this discount, it is requested that you take a quick decision. There is a facility for a loan where you can pay in 12 installments by availing the loan facility. There will be 12 EMIs, interest-free EMIs available with you. For further information, you can connect with the VGLD team. The contact details and the email IDs have been shared with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trigun and Ms. Namita. That was wonderfully explained by you. Now I can see the participants are having a lot of questions regarding the US CPA program. So we will begin our Q&A session with all our expert panelists. So the first question is that what is the key difference between US CPA and Canadian CPA? Mr. Siddharth, would you like to take up this question?
Thanks, Shreya. So to answer that question, first of all, you have to understand the way the two countries operate. In Canada, so for example, in every country, there is a standard setter. So in India, it's the institute, and every country has its own standard setter. So typically, there will be one standard setter in every country. But Canada is a country where there are multiple, qualifications state by state. So every state has its own CA or a CPA. In India, if you want to do a CA, you just have the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, you enroll with them and you become a chartered accountant. In UK, you have two bodies, okay, ACCA and Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. In Australia, you have two bodies. Canada is probably the only country where you have multiple. Every state offers its own CA or CPA. And US, of course, has only one, which is the US CPA. Now, if I have to compare the two, in Canada, you have to be very sure which state you will be relocating to. And therefore, you have to decide that you want to do CPA or CA of that state. So if you want to move to Toronto, you will do a Toronto CA or CPA. If you want to move to Vancouver, you will do Vancouver CA CPA. And in the US, it's just one. Second difference is that after doing US CPA, you can get a job in Canada, but it's not the other way around. By doing a Canadian CPA, you may not get a job in US. So US CPA is recognized globally. I can share, experiences of my colleagues and students. They have moved to all over the world, right from US to Canada to Australia, UK, France, Luxembourg, you name it, and people have moved to these countries after doing US CPA. So that's a very big difference. Now, as far as MOU is concerned, yes, there is no MOU with the American CPA right now with ICAI, so there are no exemptions. But let me tell you that there are no exemptions for anybody. So whether you are from any part of the world, whether you are a BCom or a PhD, you have no exemptions in the US CPA qualification. There are just 4 papers. Everybody has to go through those 4 papers. And there is a very big advantage of that. Okay. Now, one, of course, you don't have any exemption. So you must be thinking that how is that an advantage? Let me explain that, take 2 minutes in explaining that. Assume that you are an Indian company and there are 2 candidates sitting in front of you. One is a full-fledged chartered accountant and another person has done just 2 papers and got the membership number of ICAI because there is a MOU with his country and ICAI. Okay, so let's say somebody from Africa or any other part of the world, there is a MOU between his country and our country, and therefore just by appearing for 2 papers, I'm just giving a random example here, just by giving 2 papers, he has got the membership certificate of ICAI. Now these 2 candidates have appeared for an interview. You are the interviewer. Think about it yourself. Who will you select? The full-fledged chartered accountant who has the knowledge of the Indian regulatory environment, the Indian legal environment, the Indian GAAP, etc., or a person who has just done 2 papers and got the membership number of ICAI? Obviously, you will select the one who has done the full-fledged course. Same thing applies to the US. If you apply for an American company, you have cleared all the 4 papers, you will be considered at par with anybody else who has done American CPA. So you are no less than anybody else. And that is the philosophy behind this, that there is no exemption given to anyone, even if you are a PhD. I hope I've answered the question. If there's anything more I can add to it, please, please ask me again, and I will be happy to do that.
So can I raise a question which is coming from quite a few participants, that in case I am a CA intermediate and I have not done BCom examination, am I eligible to go for CPA? I think Namita, you should be able to answer this question. If I'm a CA intermediate student and not done BCom, am I eligible to take? I think Mohammed Azhar and Shri, I think, raised this question. Yeah.
So as you know that minimum 120 credits are required to sit for the CPA exams. So just by having CA Inter, it will become very, very difficult to be eligible for the CPA exams. Of course, if you have a graduation degree plus a CA Inter, then things become much more easier. You have 120 credits and eligible to sit for the CPA exams, but just CA Inter, that will not help. But we have other means. I mean, we can discuss that, where how you can become eligible for the CPA exams. So there's no need to get disheartened. We will help you with the different ways in which you can become eligible. I hope I'm able to answer that question.
A general complaint coming, which I should answer, but I will not answer, is that your fees is very high. And the course seems to be very expensive. So I think me and Kapil will try to answer this question. So the fees is not regulated by us. The fees is regulated by the backers. And if you buy the backers material from the backers website, I think it costs you more than what we are charging. Am I right, Kapil?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So believe me, we are not minting a huge money. I'm not saying I'm not minting the money. We are making money, not minting money. But we are keeping in view the interest of the students. We have had the best faculty, and even the audio video you'll see will be of the best quality, which I can stand by that. And that is why, because of COVID and other reasons we know, it's difficult for the students to afford the fees. So that is why VGLD and Grant Thornton decided to offer the fees in 12 equal monthly installments without charging any interest. Am I right, Kapil?
Right, sir. Right.
So other institute, some people are commenting that other institutes will be charging less, but believe me, if anyone who provides you backers material, he cannot charge you less. This is my guarantee to you. Over to you, Shreya. I think you can take the questions further.
Thank you, VG sir. So there's another question that's coming up a lot, is that does CPA exam in India a permanent change, or is it just for June, September and December because of COVID? Siddharth, would you like to take up this question?
Sure, Shreya. So as of now, AICPA has started conducting exams in India. First one was in June, and the next upcoming one is September. For December, AICPA has not yet made the official announcement, but the Prometric centers have already started taking the bookings, which indicates that AICPA is going to make the announcement soon. Now, coming to the question that whether it's going to be a permanent feature or is it just for the COVID, during the COVID, era. To that, of course, it is anybody's guess right now, but I would just like to bring in a perspective here that what I heard from unofficial sources is that AICPA has spent a lot of money. It has made huge investments in India to start conducting exams in India. And therefore, they will look to continue in India for a long time to come. It's not just going to be a 3-window or a 4-window affair, because if they have invested a huge amount, they would want to recover their investment, return on investment as well. So my guess would be that it is going to continue. And most likely, it is not just going to be a March, June, September and December affair. Most likely, it is going to be on a continuous testing basis. But we'll have to wait and watch.
Thank you, Siddharth. Namita, there's another question coming which says, how will doing a US CPA be beneficial for a qualified chartered accountant?
So CA, as you know, is the highest accounting qualification of India, the best qualification of India, right? US CPA is the highest qualification of the US, and it has more global acceptance. So when a CA, Indian CA does US CPA, he's adding another feather to his cap, and he's expanding his global aspirations further. So this becomes a very deadly combination. Best of India qualification with best of US qualification increases the global acceptability of the candidates. This is how it can help a chartered accountant, an Indian chartered accountant. I hope I've been able to answer that question properly.
Can I raise a question? Shri, can I raise a question? A question coming from Piyush Panchal, Mukesh, that Piyush says that at the age of 46, can I appear for a CPA exam? And in fact, we have one of our friends, I think the team should be able to, Namita, you should be able to tell. He's, I think, 68 years, and he has just returned from US, and he does not have the CPA degree. So quite a few want to know, is there any age limit for doing CPA? So Mukesh, Piyush, and one person who came to VGLD with the age of 68 years, who just returned from US, they have raised this question. The second question is, I'm a MCOM and BCom from IGNOU University with second division. I'm a BCom, MCom from IGNOU University, second division in both. Am I eligible to take the exam? I think one question, the first question, Siddharth, you answer. The second question, Namita, please you answer.
Sure.
Siddharth, first question.
I'm really sorry, sir. Can you please repeat the first question?
Any age limit for appearing in CPA? Piyush says he is at the age of 46. He or his friend is at the age of 46. Mukesh also says the same question. Any upper age limit for appearing in the exam?
Okay. So in one word, no, there is no upper age limit. You can do it at any age. And let me share an example. Of course, I will not take the name of the person, but in one of my batches, I had someone who was, close to his retirement age. And, I walked up to him in one of the classes after the session was over. I walked up to him and said, sir, why are you doing CPA? And, he said that I have two sons and both of them are working they are software engineers. They are working in the US. And after retirement, I want to join them, but I don't want to be dependent on them. I want to have, my own independent setup. So therefore, I'm doing CPA so that I can move to the US and start my CPA practice. And I was like, wow, hats off to you. We think of small, challenges and, feel discouraged. And at the age of 60, he was taking up this challenge of studying after so many years. So, there is no age limit. People right from analyst level to senior management of companies, they do it. In most of my batches, there have been at least 2 or 3 cases where people were at a vice president or a director level, or were aspiring for a director or vice president level. And let me also give you a perspective on that. I was reading, while the other panelists were speaking, I was reading some of the comments. So one of the comments was that what is the benefit of doing CPA? Now, there are companies where you hit a glass ceiling beyond a point. So you are promoted to assistant manager, maybe at most senior manager, but then you hit a glass ceiling and you don't get promoted unless you get professional qualification. So I know of examples where people have been asked by their companies to go and get a professional qualification in order to be promoted to the next level. So therefore, it is very, very important. That's it from my side, sir. For the second question, Namita, over to you.
Sure, sir. So I would say that, of course, BCom and MCom will give you 150 credits. BCom gives you 90 credits and MCom would give you 60 credits. So you will have 150 credits. But there are certain other requirements which depend upon the subjects that you have studied. There are certain minimum requirements. So it is better that you send your documents to VGLD team, who will look at you and give you a more detailed information about your eligibility. But on the face of it, you do look eligible.
Can I pose some questions which are coming from the queries? First question is, whether classes are online classes. Second question is, when is the first batch starting? Kapil has raised a question that whether recordings of the classes will be available. So I think I can answer the questions. The questions are, the classes are live online, and the recorded classes will also be available to you. So whether you are attending the live online classes or not, the recorded versions will be given to you. The first batch is starting on 26th of July. So Kapil, I think I have answered your question also that recordings are also available. Another query is coming from Praveen. I think Kapil Arora will answer this question. Which one is better, ACCA or CPA? Kapil, you are a ACCA?
Right, sir. So, comparing ACCA with CPA, again, I would say that you can compare all three, CA, ACCA, and CPA. And as Namita has mentioned, that as CA is the highest qualification in India, CPA is the highest qualification in US. Right, so most of the US companies always prefer to have CPA over ACCA, whereas I would say uh, the international reporting which are required, like IFRS, purely IFRS, or something related to UK guidance which is required, there the ACCA becomes more valuable, right? So at the same time, right, so all three qualification has a different requirement altogether, and has a different value altogether, right? So it all depends that what exactly you are planning to look at. But at the same time, I would say that all three qualifications, right? So if I compare CPA and ACCA, right? In CPA and ACCA, in both the qualification, you are going to cover almost all the things, all four papers only. But these four papers are covering everything which is there in the ACCA. So both the aspects are important, right? So it all depends that which aspect we are giving a more weightage, right? Or what exactly we are looking for.
Can I pose some questions which I have noted? Prachi, I think Namita, you take up these questions. Prachi has posed a question whether I can complete, she's I think a CA. I think she's a CA, I didn't note the full designation. So Prachi, if you could type the question again. She said whether I can complete the course by December 20. Muskan had asked a question whether for CPA exam I should appear from India or go abroad. And there's another question coming from Puneet Walia from Canada. So Mr. Puneet Walia is from Canada. He says he want to do the CPA course. Can he get the material in Canada? I think this is a question which we have to take up with the content provider. Am I right, Kapil?
Right, sir. Right.
Yeah. So Puneet, you can drop us a mail. We'll forward it to the content provider and the backers and see how the issue can be resolved. So Namita, please take up these two queries from Muskan. She wanted to know that whether she should appear from India abroad. Then Prachi, she wanted to complete by December 20. Is it possible or not? Yeah.
Replying to Prachi's question as to whether she can appear till December or not. See, Prachi, as Trigun had taken you through the CPA program, there are certain processes involved. And the main one is getting your evaluation done, which is converting your Indian marks into US credit points, for which you need your transcripts. Keeping in mind the current COVID situation, it is students are finding it difficult to get the transcripts. But if you're able to get your transcripts, let's say within 15-20 days or slightly more, and the evaluation process will also have certain timelines. You will have to send your documents to the evaluation agency, and this process takes around 6 to 8 weeks. And then of course you have, once this is done, in the meanwhile you can prepare for your exams. Then you will have to apply for exams, which again takes around 15 days time. So these are the timelines involved in these processes. They will take the time that they take. You can start your preparation, hopefully. I mean, it depends how fast you are able to get the transcripts. That will decide whether you'll be able to sit for the CPA exams. But definitely, yes, you can aim for CPA exams in December and get started immediately. As in these processes keep completing, you can keep proceeding further. And if by God's grace, you might be able to take the exam in December.
Namita, as you know, the CA students are used to appearing for 8 papers at a time
Right, sir.
with a gap of just 1 day. So I think a real CA, a CA student can really clear all the 4 papers in one go.
They can, but the only thing I'm telling is that there are
That's what you
timelines
say.
involved in the processes. The processes have a timeline involved. If that gets completed in time, she would be able to take all the 4 papers in December.
Himanshu, you pass all the papers in one go or each one by one attempt?
So you're talking about Indian CA?
I'm talking about Himanshu Sardana. You pass all the CA exam in one go or one?
Yes, in first attempt, thankfully.
8 papers.
No, 4. I gave group by group.
So 4 papers. I think then CPA also there are 4 papers.
Yeah.
One can pass in one attempt.
Definitely, sir. I guess in India we can always say that when it comes on studies, so CA students, of course, always give 100%, right? So being chartered accountancy is not an easy qualification at all, right? And it is one of the difficult qualification, and still clearing that with a complete group, it's not an easy task.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kapil sir. Thank you, VG sir. Siddharth, there's another very interesting question coming from students is that when I get my CPA license, do I have to give away my CA membership? And I'll add on another question, which is asked by Himanshu, is that if I'm already a practicing company secretary, do I have to surrender my practice certificate when I get the license?
On the first one, I am not 100% sure, but I can check and get back to you, and then you can inform the students. But my understanding is that you don't have to give up your CA practice license. I know of a few chartered accountants who are also licensed CPAs. Why I'm saying I'm not 100% sure, because there is no MOU between ICAI and AICPA as of now. So we'll have to look at the fine print, but the people that I know of who are both chartered accountants and licensed CPAs, I can quickly get back to them, and ask them this question and get back to you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Would anybody else want to add up to this? Okay, so I think we'll get back to you regarding this question. Another question is that, Namita, if you can help us with this question, is that can you please guide us between choosing CPA and CFA?
Okay, both are different. Like, the 4 subjects that are there in CPA, that's financial accounting and reporting, auditing, taxation, and business. So if somebody has interest in getting into auditing or taxation in the near future, then CPA is the course for them. But if somebody is into core financing, the interest area is core financing, then definitely I would say that CFA is the course for them. So CFA is more core finance and CPA is more into auditing, taxation. Depending upon your area of interest, you can choose the CPA or the CFA program.
Thank you, Namita. A similar question I'll just ask for CPA to Namita, you only, that is there another CPA for New Zealand or is US CPA enough?
We have a CPA New Zealand, CPA Australia, and US CPA does have an MOU with US Australia. So if you are a US CPA, if you're planning to do US CPA, and if you're planning to later on move to Australia, or you can use US CPA and make use of the MOU between US CPA and US Australia and get the required qualification.
So I think 2 of our panelists had another webinar they have to leave. So there were a lot of questions from Muskan, Satyaki, and a lot of participants. So what I suggest is, Shreya, just provide them with the email ID and the phone number where they could, better is the email ID. and VGLD and GT will respond to them within 24 to 48 hours. You can take up this issue.
Thank you, VG sir. So firstly, I would like to thank all the esteemed panelists for such a knowledgeable and insightful webinar. And to the students who have more queries, I would like you all to email at support@cpaclassroom.com. I'll repeat that. That is support@cpaclassroom.com. Please message all your queries here, and the counselors will get back to you within 48 hours. And now I would just request VG sir and Kapil sir to both present a vote of thanks to all our panelists and viewers, and then we can end the session.
So thank you very much for a patient hearing to all the participants. So thanks especially Himanshu for sparing your time, Siddharth, Namita, so for sparing your valuable time and sharing your experiences and answers with the students and the professionals. So we have a lot of queries coming from Sushant, Puneet, and so many. So we are unable to answer because of the time constraint. One of the query which we have not addressed but we'd like to address is in the, we'll see how to address it, that any placement guarantee for CPA. So VGLD and GD do not give any placement guarantee. They do give placement assistance. Am I right, Kapil?
Yes, sir.
So if you have any queries whatsoever, please do send it to the email support@cpaclassroom.com. So thank you very much, and over to Kapil to conclude the session. Kapil, please.
Thanks, sir. And I would like to thank all of you to spare time to join us for this webinar. We have seen many queries, and we hope that we have answered a couple of queries. But I believe that yes, the program is such where entry is not easy, right? When entry is not easy, there is a point system. So you need to be very, very careful about that. If you are going to apply for the CPA program, you should know all these details which we have discussed. And while going for this, we can definitely be there to support you on all the areas which we have mentioned here. But at the same time, as I mentioned that the entry is difficult, but we will ensure that the training and everything which we do, right, or the assistance which we provide over the period which where you join us and stay with us for completing the CPA program, that should not give any sort of issues to anybody, right? So that should be a smooth journey, and VGLD and GT would be taking care of that to ensure that we are covering all the aspects and all these areas which are required one to understand. And again, like to thank all the panelists, Himanshu, Siddharth, Trigun, Namita, Shreya, sir, of course, and everybody again for joining. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
So please, I know that we have not been able to answer certain queries. Rishabh is a bit angry, but Rishabh, I'll personally call you, Rishabh Jain, I suppose, and I'll answer your query. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.